Jenna Olson is a graduate from Minnesota Independence College and Community. Jenna is here to tell us about her autistic journey. Jenna will share what life was like before she began attending Minnesota Independence College and Community and how MICC helped her to become more independent, to be an autistic leader in her daily work and life. When young autistic people can be who they are and educated to be leaders in autism acceptance, they change the rules in a time when we never needed more courageous autistics to show us a path to a better tomorrow than we do now. Welcome to the episode Educating Future Autistic Leadership on today's Autistic Moment.
Forever, so let yourself shine. Every time you feel you're down on yourself, look inside, you'll find you got what it takes. Yeah, I can tell you can make it, you can reach the top. Here's your chance, just take it. The ones with that.
Today is your day on Today's Autistic Moment, a podcast for autistic adults by an autistic adult, where autistic adults get to be yourselves in a space that is safe and made especially for you. While listening to this podcast, you stim and fidget all you like. This first segment of Today's Autistic Moment is sponsored by the Autism Society of Minnesota, known as AWESOME throughout Minnesota's autism community. As Minnesota's first autism resource for more than 50 years, AWESOME serves the whole state, the whole spectrum, for the whole life. Visit AWESOME at ausm.org. Before I begin, I want to give some basic information about today's Autistic Moment to help all listeners find our many resources. Please visit todaysautisticmoment.com, where you can listen to the podcast, get transcripts, program updates, and read the guest bios pages. You can also visit the Adult Autism Resources links page. Please visit the Future Shows page to read the titles, guests, and descriptions of all the shows coming up. The transcripts are sponsored by Minnesota Independence College and Community. There is a link provided to get access to a document form of the transcript without the purple-colored background so that you can print it without using up the ink on your printer. The written document has a font that is accessible for dyslexics. There are additional transcripts available in Spanish, German, French, and Chinese Simplified. Please follow Today's Autistic Moment on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Blue Sky. Join Today's Autistic Moment community group page on Facebook for conversations and updates. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel at Today's Autistic Moment to watch any episode of Autistic Voices Roundtable discussions. In celebration of Autism Acceptance Month, James Erickson, whom I have known for a long time now, has given me permission to use a poem he wrote entitled In the Silence of Self-Acceptance. I once moved through a world that spun too fast, a quiet hum inside, never quite in tune with the noise outside. Thoughts twisted, tangled words felt foreign, like hands reaching but never quite grasping. Yet in the stillness, I began to hear my own rhythm, not shaped by expectations, but an unwavering truth. My mind, a landscape rich with colors unseen, not broken, not needing to fit, but whole in its own way. I've learned that my rhythm needs not match the world's. The pauses between my words are spaces where meaningful breaths and silence, never still, becomes a quiet breath before something deeper stirs. Acceptance isn't about reshaping the world. It's about allowing myself to exist without apology. Not a riddle to unravel, but a living thing, wild and real, unfolding in its own time. In my differences, I find strength, a quiet power, soft yet clear, felt in the things I notice that others overlook, in the way I experience a world that is both too loud and too still. Let me be as I am, and in that being, let the world learn to see not just what's familiar, but the quiet beauty of things that need not conform, the intricate patterns, the waves that carve, not to fit, but to exist, in a dance of strength, of truth reborn. This poem is copyrighted 2025. James Erickson, all rights reserved, used with permission. As the above poem is copyrighted, do not use it without permission of the author, James Erickson, or without including his copyright that is written in the transcript. After this first commercial break, Jenna Olson will join me to talk about how Minnesota Independence College and Community is educating future autistic leadership. Today's Autistic Moment can be downloaded and heard on most podcast apps, including Apple, Google Play, Breaker, Castbox, Overcast, iHeartRadio, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, Spotify, TuneIn, Pandora, Amazon Music, Audible, Podcast Addict, Podcast Chaser. If you are looking for the transcripts, go to todaysautisticmoment.com, click on the episode you want to listen to, and follow the directions to find the transcripts. Thank you for listening to today's Autistic Moment.
Looking Forward Life Coaching is a Twin Cities-based nonprofit that provides mentorship and coaching for individuals, couples, and families, either face-to-face or virtually. Some areas that Looking Forward Life Coaching can provide services are organizational skills, time management, employment coaching, relationship coaching, and many more. Our coaches are trained in person-centered approaches, and we can provide person-centered plans with obtainable goals. We accept all waivers from the state of Minnesota, with the exception of elderly. We also have reduced rates and scholarships for private pay. If you would like more information or schedule a free meet and greet, visit our website at www.lookingforwardlc.org or call us at 612-504-7414. Looking Forward Life Coaching helps change stumbling blocks of life into stepping stones towards success.
Support for today's Autistic Moment comes from Best Care Home Care Agency. Best Care offers PCA services, and your friend or family member could be your paid PCA. Best Care also offers homemaking, FMS services, and 2, 4, 5D services throughout the Metro and Greater Minnesota. Visit their website, bestcaremn.com, to learn more about their services. Jenna Olson, welcome to today's Autistic Moment. It is a pleasure that you have accepted my invitation to be a guest, so welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Great.
First time doing a podcast.
Oh, well, good. Well, I'm sure you will do well. All right, we are starting, of course, Autism Acceptance Month, and this is being recorded on April 1st. So we are right on schedule. And so given the focus of today's Autistic Moment this year about navigating the future of multidimensional autistic leadership, I wanted to have a couple shows this month about helping future autistic leadership because they're the ones who are going to have to navigate the future of all that is going on now. So, in Minnesota Independence College and Community is a generous supporter of today's Autistic Moment and a proud business partner with today's Autistic Moment, and I am always grateful for their continued support and partnership. It's an invaluable resource in Minnesota, and one that I can say is envied by many in other states. So, with that in mind, um, let's build a foundation for our conversation today. And as part of this, I'd like to ask you, Jenna,
Mhm.
before you started attending MICC, what was school and life like?
Yeah, so I grew up in Duluth.
Okay.
Um, and life was very different before MICC. I'll just start with that. All right, so was first diagnosed at the end of sixth grade. I remember in sixth grade, I had a lot of different behavioral issues, and nobody could figure out what the heck was going on.
Mm,
And when I was diagnosed, it was just like, oh, this is what's going on. Maybe this is how, this is what's going on. Let's figure out a way to help Jenna get where she needs to be in life.
right.
So I remember in middle school, in seventh and eighth grade, I had a professional with me, kind of guiding me, making sure I was making the right decisions. I also had what's called a behavioral sheet, where they would track different points and how I regulated myself. And at the beginning, it was not very good, but slowly and surely, I was able to figure out how the heck to get through middle school.
Mm,
And then in high school, when I first started high school, it was a bit of an eye opener because I didn't have that person with me anymore. My high school didn't offer that, but I was, um, for the most part, my freshman year, I was in a part of the school that was kind of segregated away from the other people. And then I slowly integrated myself away from throughout the 4 years, I slowly integrated myself away from that wing of the high school into being almost fully independent. And then MICC came and they really helped grow that independence.
How did you find out about MICC?
So my mom was the first one who found MICC. My high school was throwing a resource fair, and my mom attended. And then she later looked online and was just like, "This existed? How were you supposed to know that this existed?" So she went online, and we went through it, and we set up an interview, and we went. And the first day that we went, it was more like a question and answer, like, what is MICC?
Mm-hmm.
What do we offer? How can we support you? Stuff like that. And then the second time I visited, it was an actual, like, spend a day here at MICC, where I spent some time with staff, and then we went and we spent some time in what's called the Student Center, which is like a normal hangout area for participants. And I got to tour an apartment,
Mm.
which was really nice, a 3-bedroom apartment with roommates. And it's basically, I got to feel what it would be like to be on the MICC campus, which was really nice.
Mm. And what was that like for you as you were going through things? Did you find yourself comfortable, or what was going through your mind as you were going through that?
I remember the first interview, I was very nervous,
Mm.
and I didn't say much because I was, taking it all in.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one of the first thoughts I had about MICC was, wait a second, why would they put a college in an apartment complex? That doesn't make sense. I'm used to
Mm.
schools being in bigger buildings, not in apartment complexes.
Right.
And but then I was just like, this is actually pretty cool that they have a school in an apartment complex, because you can use these as classrooms. You don't have to go, you don't have to leave the building to experience cooking or cleaning or stuff like that.
Mm. And then when you first began attending classes and living at MICC, um, tell us what that might have been like.
So MICC was my college experience, and it was the first time of living away from my parents.
Mm.
I don't remember too much of the first week, but I do remember, it for me, it felt nice to be able to do stuff and not have the parents over my shoulder saying or asking, "What you doing? Where you going? What's happening?" It felt nice to be free from the parental guidance.
When you, yeah,
Um, yeah.
when you first got to MICC,
Hmm.
and what you're telling me happened, was there something in particular that helped you know that you were in the right place for you?
I think having an instructor or advisor that you could go to if you had any issues, and them validating you, saying, "Yeah, that sounds like a tricky situation. Let me help you through it."
Mm,
Instead of saying, "This is how you should handle this. This is how you need to think about this."
mm. We know that being autistic, sometimes we have those experiences of explaining what's going on with us and having people not really believe us or
Mm-hmm.
trust that we know what we're talking about. And I would guess that Minnesota Independence College and Community helps you to find out for yourself that your autistic needs are important. They do believe you, and they're willing to give you the space to be who you are without asking you to be or do something that you are not because of
Mm-hmm.
who you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
When that happened, can you talk about maybe you can talk about the relief you might have felt? I know I'm putting you on the spot here, Jenna.
Yeah, no,
It's,
it's
it's,
okay. It's
yeah.
okay. Um, I felt better knowing that I didn't have to solve the issue myself.
Mm,
That's one thing that um I'm still working on, still trying to figure out, or that's something, that's a realization that I'm still working on today.
mm,
But just knowing that I don't need to solve this. This is not my issue. This is their issue. This person has the staff and support that they need to figure out what the heck is going on in their life
mm.
so they can help solve it.
Yeah, that all sounds great. That is so important. And when we're talking about um, educating the future of autistic leadership, um, there is nothing so important as is helping autistic individuals know that their identity is not disordered and it's not um, it is real. It is a good thing, and it needs its own special kind of nurturing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, being autistic, there's so much negativity around us that somehow we're unusual, or we're quote a danger to society, which we know is absolutely not true.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is that it's just a matter of putting us in the best environment that we can be in so that we can um, get ourselves engaged in the work of becoming who we are meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
um, you know I know from my time of attending events at the Autism Society Minnesota a number of years ago, and just being in a space where there were other autistics who said, we experienced that too. And they had their responses to what they were experiencing. What a life changer that was for me. And I feel that when it comes to educating future autistic leadership, that the important thing is that they find and do some community building so that they can impact a change in how society understands, receives, and accepts us. And here we are in Autism Acceptance Month, an acceptance that we are more than what many in society say that we are. And that's what I appreciate about the work that MICC does. I have seen it myself in my interview with Holt Mills last year, and now just this interview with you. It's telling me a lot. That is so important. After this next commercial break, Jenna and I are going to talk more about how MICC creates the environment where autistics and our intersectional communities can be affirmed and prepared to be leaders. Are you wondering if you are autistic and want advice about where to look for options to find out? Are you a newly identified autistic and want to ask questions that no one else will answer? Do you want to talk with someone who is autistic who can identify with your experiences? Are you looking for resources? You can now contact me for TAM Autistic Consulting Services. As the host of today's Autistic Moment, I can answer your questions and give you some autism education and make recommendations to help you decide what other services you might need. Go to todaysautisticmoment.com and click on the menu option TAM Autistic Consulting Services to learn about my consultation services and make an appointment.
MICC provides transformative education and training for autistic and neurodivergent adults to live independently, work purposefully, and thrive in community. With hands-on learning and caring guidance, MICC participants accomplish things they never imagined, from daily living tasks like taking public transportation or managing finances, to building and sustaining a career and lifelong friendships. Learn more about our inclusive community in Richfield, Minnesota at micc.org.
Autistic adults aren't getting the support we need. It affects our health, our income, financial stability, and our ability to live independently. ITI Assistive Technologies is changing that. This autistic-led team has created Decide with tools built for neurodivergent minds. One lets users quickly pick from custom lists based on their energy level. The other guides them through big decisions using simple agree-disagree statements that match their values. Visit itiassist.com/decide for more information about downloading the app to get all features for just $5 a month. Autism Acceptance Month has arrived. There is an urgent need for autism acceptance with all the negativity that is coming to the surface this year. Today's Autistic Moment is talking with our guests about future autistic leaders who will guide the autistic community forward by example and self-determination. Today's Autistic Moment is bringing a diversity of guests to help us identify our multidimensional characteristics to energize autistics to take a lead. Today's Autistic Moment is seeking your financial support to continue to bring you the best topics, guests, and conversations. Supporters can contribute in several ways. 1. You can make a one-time donation through the coffee icon, that's KO-FI icon, when you tap on Support Today's Autistic Moment on todaysautisticmoment.com. 2. You can become a monthly supporter via Patreon. 3. You can purchase Today's Autistic Moment merchandise, such as a 16-ounce drinking cup or a lapel pin from the logo shop. While donations are not tax deductible, they help maintain the podcast's production quality by funding studio expenses, software, and equipment. By supporting Today's Autistic Moment, listeners contribute to the continuation of important conversations and resources for the autistic community. Thank you for supporting Today's Autistic Moment. We know that autistics are engaged in educating the future of autistic leadership, and that there are some intersectional identities that includes our LGBTQI plus people and those who are gender nonconforming and that sort of thing. Jenna, are you able to talk a little bit about some of the diversity you saw at MICC?
Yeah, one of my best friends is actually they don't like to refer to themselves as trans, but that's what she is. And MICC was one of the best places she could be
Yeah,
with the way she with her autism and her disability.
right. Yeah. And did she confide in you?
So my junior year, she was a freshman and she was my roommate.
Okay.
And she's actually one of the first um, transgender people that I have ever met.
Mm.
And it, you know, there are a lot of people who would not like the way that she represents herself.
Mm.
But I did not have any issues with it. I said, "Girl, you be you. I don't have any issues.
Mm.
You be you." And I became one of her closest friends.
Good. Yeah. Yeah. Was there a lot of diversity around you, as in students of color and, um, the diversity around you there at the college must have been a really very, very visible and very accepting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can you talk at all about, as far as helping you to engage in leadership and in helping you and others become a leader, engage in leadership? I believe when we were rehearsing a few weeks ago, you said something about patience, and I think you said something about a summit class.
Yep. Yes. So, um, freshman year, there was a class taught by an instructor who unfortunately doesn't work full time at MICC anymore. But this class was called the Summit, and it was all about learning leadership skills. I don't there's a lot of stuff about the class that I don't actually remember, but I do know that one of the opportunities that came from that class was the opportunity to become a camp counselor for True Friends Camp Friendship. It's a nonprofit organization based in Annandale,
Mm,
and it's a camp. It was a summer camp for everybody, for anybody and anybody with any kind of disability,
mm,
and leadership. So, being a camp counselor did make you a leader in such that you were taking care of people with any kind of disability.
mm.
And they really counted on you to be their leader because you were basically their caretaker for a week.
Yeah. And what was it like for you to be in that role?
It was eye-opening in the
Mm,
fact that yes, it's in how do I put this? Because I want to the thing that I want to say is that I'm glad I had the experience because now I know that I don't want to be as hands-on with um personal cares, if that
mm.
makes sense. But I did enjoy it.
Well, as you were being that counselor, um, and you had to do some of that personal care
Mm-hmm.
support, were there some things you learned about yourself, such as, that you can do this, you can be a leader, you can, um, and that leadership, for example, is is more of like serving others rather than, you know, dominating or, because last month Carol Jean Whittington pointed out that autistic leadership is collaborative in nature. So, what you were doing in that camp and what the skills you learned from Minnesota Independence College and Community,
Mm-hmm.
helped you to be collaborative in your leadership role. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I imagine that, some of that involved, I don't know, um, making sure that things are accessible. Um,
Yep. Making sure things are accessible, making sure or explaining to someone how to do something,
right.
explaining maybe the daily schedule, we're gonna do this first, and then we're gonna go back and we're gonna get ready for this, and then we're gonna go back and then get ready for this, and then
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's so helpful because I know, people with disabilities, again, there's a lot of negativity around us because we quote unquote can't do certain things. We just do them differently. And
Mm-hmm.
in an environment like that, as well as the educational and community environment at MICC, you know, um, it is a positive spot where, you know, we're not expecting you to be like someone who is not disabled or someone who is neurotypical.
Mm-hmm.
We are working with you as you are, and rather than being dismissive or minimalizing things, we're giving you opportunities to really um, enjoy being you here. Um,
Yes.
you
Yep.
know, I know that you are also uh, a mentor with the Autism Mentorship Program, and
Yep.
they are going to be on next show to talk about that.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And the thing is, I remember Emily saying that one of the great parts about that program is that you know an autistic mentor and mentee, for once, they're not um, afraid to stim or fidget or
Mm-hmm.
afraid just to be in a place where they feel safe with another person. That
Mm-hmm.
how much that really changed things for them, and um, I would
I
imagine.
wish I had that when I was in high school. Someone who is autistic or other learning differences who graduated from high school, who's been in the world, to just sit down and talk about, what to expect.
Mm,
'Cause I didn't know what to expect when I graduated high school. I didn't have any plans. I didn't know what I was going to do.
mm, yeah, yeah, I know, and that's also one of those great things that MICC gave you.
Mm-hmm.
Being in a place where okay, you have other autistics around you. You probably had autistics who were instructing you, or just kind of, again, just let go of what the rest of the world tells you and just be you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's so powerful. The final question of which we're going to talk about today is that we want to talk about interdependence. I'm talking a lot about that a lot this
Mm-hmm.
season because I mean, part of navigating the future of multidimensional autistic leadership is interdependence. And this is a spot where a lot of us autistics get to change the rules. In other words, instead of it just being about me versus them, or them and me, or me, and that sort of thing, now it's everybody kind of working together in their roles. So, I mean, how did Minnesota Independence College and Community prepare you to be interdependent?
Can you remind me what the word interdependence means?
Perfect. I can do that. Okay, so there's independence, which is kind of a feeling of being able to do everything yourself.
Yep.
The part that's about dependent means you're entirely dependent on someone else. You don't have a sense of independence because you have to be dependent on somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Interdependence is a little bit of both. It's like saying that, while you are in the space where um, at MICC, and while you're learning some independence, you're also learning that while you're doing that, everybody is kind of interdependent upon each other. Your instructors are teaching you, you are learning. Your roommates are living and they are working, they're working through their relationships with each other and their struggles with each other. Um,
Mm-hmm.
they're interacting, and by doing that, there's an interdependence by which we realize that we're not an island, nor are we left alone. We basically we need each other to support each other, and from that we build, if you will, a greater sense of of that what we're doing with everybody else.
Yeah, so one thing that I really needed help with was transportation.
Mm,
I do not drive yet. Um, and I am very directionally challenged. So getting around for me when I first got here was going to be a big issue because I didn't know where things were. I didn't know directions. I didn't know how to get from point A to point B smoothly. So a class that MICC offers, I think all 3 years, or maybe it's just 2, is Transportation 101, which really um, help me get to know the bus routes, the different bus routes, because there's like, I don't know, 100 or maybe even 200 different bus routes just here in the Twin Cities alone.
Right.
Um, and MICC really nailed the skill in me and how to use Google Maps and how to figure out when a certain bus is leaving and when a certain bus is coming back, and the, the interdependence part is helping someone else, saying you should take this bus route to get to this point because I know that it leaves around this certain time and you should get there at another certain time.
Right. Yep. And those bus routes are often changing, drivers exchanging, and sometimes you even got to reroute because of how the Metro Transit works. And believe me, I
Yeah,
remember all that.
one day I was trying to get to work and there was a snowstorm and bus routes were running every hour instead of every half hour like they normally do, so I had to figure out a completely different way to get to work.
Mm.
And this was before I discovered how to use the apps Uber and Lyft. So it was a very stressful time,
Mm.
but Google Maps was my saving grace.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. What kind of work do you do now? And do you love what you do? And also, maybe how does your time at MICC helped you prepare to do a career you like, and
Yeah.
you feel confident in yourself and what you're doing.
Yep. So, second year of the undergrad program, the junior year, is very career based. Um, so they have 4 track programs. So you got culinary, you got hospitality, you have retail, and then you have health and human services. I chose the back then it was called just health services, but it's now called health and human services. And when I completed that program, my interest at the time, I wanted to go into like medical record keeping, something like that. And my job instructor at the time suggested, or um, they got a tip from another MICC participant that they really needed help in the pharmacy. So I went in and I just took a chance on being a pharmacy tech, and I'm still a pharmacy tech today, but just not with the company that I started with. I used to work for Walgreens and now I work for CVS as a pharmacy technician.
Yeah. And you enjoy that.
For the most part, yes, it's a yes.
Mm.
Being a pharmacy tech is a very hard job,
Oh yes.
but it also can be very rewarding. Yesterday at work, I became someone's a customer called me their new best friend because I told them that they didn't have to worry about transferring their records from one pharmacy to another because it's all recorded in the online database.
Mm.
So that I've never been called somebody's new best friend before, or I've never been called a customer's best friend before. That was pretty funny.
That's so wonderful, and I'm so happy for you that you had Minnesota Independence College and Community that could help you prepare to do something like that and be so confident in what you're doing and feel good about what you're doing. That's wonderful. That's just wonderful. After this final commercial break, Jenna will talk about what she is most thankful for after attending Minnesota Independence College and Community. Today's Autistic Community Bulletin Board is coming right up after that.
Hello, autism community. My name is Lisa Morgan. I'm an autistic adult too, and I know firsthand what it feels like to be unintentionally harmed by well-meaning professionals when reaching out for help. My passion is to help autistic people find and use their own unique strengths to help themselves. Are you rule-based, a literal thinker, have a focused interest? Let's figure out together how to use the strengths of autism to find solutions. I offer life coaching for autistic adults and individualized workshops for professionals. To find out more, go to autismcrisissupport.com.
Today's episode is brought to you by Matthew, the hashtag ActuallyAutistic Coach. If you're an autistic adult seeking support, or a friend, family member looking to better understand and assist autistic adults, Matthew is your go-to resource. As a seasoned teacher, consultant, and mentor, Matthew is dedicated to empowering the autistic community. He offers free support groups for autistic adults, educational workshops, and online meditation circles for mindfulness. For organizations, Matthew provides specialized training sessions on inclusivity. With over 15 years of mentoring autistic entrepreneurs, he offers personalized one-on-one coaching, guiding individuals to start businesses, manage careers, and build healthy relationships while embracing their authentic autistic selves. Matthew believes in thriving, not just surviving. Visit theautisticcoach.com today for a more empowered future. On April 27th, Emily Goldberg and Anna Voigt with the Autism Mentorship Program will talk about mentoring future autistic leadership. The Autism Mentorship Program is very successful because autistic adults mentor autistic teens and youth. Through sharing special interests, playing games, or just being with an autistic adult, autistic teens find safe spaces with people who help them feel safe to be themselves. On May 11th, David Gray Hammond joins us for the episode Physical Autistic Leadership. There is an unspoken bias full of misinformation that autistics do not know our own bodies. There are many facets of being autistic that are physical. Many autistics have physical disabilities. The physical side of autism has to do with interoception, proprioceptions, and other facets of sensory processing. David Gray Hammond has been advocating for how autistics experience pain and other illnesses, and will give us some in-depth information to advocate for our physical and medical needs. Thank you for listening to today's Autistic Moment. Do you have any last minute things you want to say about MICC and how it prepares, autistics to be leaders? Is there any last points you want to make? Is there something that you're particularly thankful for having attended MICC that you haven't really mentioned? When you think of all the good things that MICC has helped you find, when you think about that.
I'm thankful for MICC in the sense that there is more than one type of autistic person. When freshman year, I remember at the time, our class was one of the biggest classes that MICC had ever had.
Yeah.
And every single person either had an autism diagnosis or had other learning differences. And that was an eye-opener for me, because there is a lot of different ways that autistics express themselves.
Right. Yep.
That was an eye-opener for me, because I had never experienced that before.
Yeah. We have a quote that goes, if you have met one autistic person, you have met one autistic person. And I would imagine that MICC has helped you learn how to has helped you interact with them, so that, you feel like a community,
One lesson that MICC taught me, and the Autism Mentorship Program taught me, is that just because somebody is quiet, it doesn't mean that they don't have anything to say.
Right. Yep.
Sometimes it takes a minute. Sometimes you have to slow down and let them think for a second before assuming that they don't know what they want to talk about,
Yeah.
or assuming that they don't have an answer.
Well, whenever I've gone to the Minnesota Autism Conference, and today's Autistic Moment will have a resource table at the Minnesota Autism Conference once again. But that, and of course the Autistic Community Summit, one of the things that is so incredible is to be in one of the breakout sessions. And in that space, there are many folks who are just scrolling their phones or fidgeting or doing something with their hands. And everybody's comfortable there. Feels comfortable just to be themselves. And, there's nobody saying, oh, you're being rude, you're not being attentive, or, you're just not, with the rest of us or anything like that. No, everybody kind of gets to be themselves in that space, do what works best for them, and everybody is accepted there, and we deal with each other. We can be with each other and feel like, we're still part of what's happening. you know um, that's one of the reasons why I created today's Autistic Moment, so that autistics like you and many of the others who are part of this network, you come here, you talk, and we're hearing you, and nobody's shutting you up or shutting you down or anything like that. We're actually listening and making, centering our discussions around the people most affected by being autistic, basically. So that's one of the privileges of having something like this podcast. So, well, Jenna, thank you so much for sharing this time with us today. This has been
You're welcome.
This has been a great conversation, and I'm sure our audience is enjoying it. So thank you for being here, and we will see you soon.
All right. Have a good day.
Okay. Today's Autistic Community Bulletin Board. All these events and many others with their links not mentioned here are available on todaysautisticmoment.com/bulletin board. You are invited to the Adult Coffee Club for Autistic Adults in Minnesota. They are held on the second Tuesday of every month, weather permitting, at Dogwood Coffee, located at 2700 University Avenue West, Suite 100 in St. Paul, Minnesota. The zip code is 55114. The adult coffee clubs will begin at 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. on April 15th, May 13th, June 10th, July 8th, August 12th. Understanding Autism virtual classes are offered by the Autism Society of Minnesota. The next classes will be on April 14th from 10 to 11 a.m. May 12th from 12 to 1 p.m. June 9th, beginning 6 to 7 p.m. July 14th, 10 to 11 a.m. August 11th, 12 to 1 p.m. Classes are free of charge, but you must register to attend. Register today to attend the 30th Minnesota Autism Conference, April 16th through the 18th, at the DoubleTree by Hilton Minneapolis Airport Hotel on 2020 American Boulevard in East Bloomington, Minnesota. The zip code to use for your GPS is 55425. There will be keynote speakers, in-person and virtual breakout sessions, social opportunities for community building, and resource tables. The hyperlink to this event is on the transcript. The 25th Annual Steps for Autism in Minnesota will be on Sunday, May 18th, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the ROC at the St. Louis Park Rec Center. The address is 3700 Monterey Drive in St. Louis Park, Minnesota. The zip code to use for your GPS is 55416. The event includes a resource fair, a stage show, costumed characters, interactive activities, face painting, and more. Families, autistic adults, and community members are all welcome. This year's Steps for Autism is a self-led walk through the park by the venue. Go to ausm.org to get more information about these and other social and recreational programs, educational events, counseling services, and support groups at the Autism Society of Minnesota. Minnesota Independence College and Community invites you to join them on Tuesday, April 29th at 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. for MICC's Info Session Series, Strategies for Supporting Independence in Daily Living. This virtual session will focus on practical strategies to support neurodivergent young adults in building their independence in essential home skills. MICC instructors will share ideas and tools for use at home, along with adaptive strategies to enhance independence in areas such as cooking, cleaning, and other living tasks. Visit the events page on micc.org for more information. Min Neurodivergent is a social club rooted in a vision of bringing neurodivergent Minnesotans together to build meaningful connections. Its core principle is to foster an environment where all are treated with dignity and respect, regardless of ability or preferences. Go to their website, minneurodivergent.org, for more information, become a member, volunteer, and attend their events. The Autistic Self-Advocacy Network invites you to a Zoom webinar entitled Autism Myths and Misconceptions on Thursday, April 17th, beginning at 4 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. To find more about this event, click on Autism Myths and Misconceptions on the transcript, or go to the Autistic Community Bulletin Board on todaysautisticmoment.com. Today's Autistic Moment is here because of the generosity of supporters and sponsors. Please go to todaysautisticmoment.com and select Support Today's Autistic Moment to donate. If you have questions about today's Autistic Moment, please send an email to todaysautisticmoment@gmail.com. www.autisticstory.com. Thank you for listening to today's Autistic Moment, a podcast for autistic adults by an autistic adult. May you have an autistically amazing day. All of the guests meet with me on Zoom to record the interviews. The interview transcripts are provided by Otter. The podcast is prepared and edited on WavePad Masters Edition by NCH Software. The podcast is published by Spotify for Podcasters. The music that you hear is licensed to today's Autistic Moment by PremiumBeat.com.